Well, I want to thank everyone for joining us for our first workshop series, um, and for joining us for peer support specialists or partners in progress, recovery, and healing. So, this session will be recorded and available on our website the second week of December. So currently, everyone's audio and their cameras are currently cut off, and you can use the chat to ask questions. And throughout the presentation, we'll be able to answer those questions for you. So without further ado, I want to hand it over to our peer support specialist and our Sharon Rapnicki, and our peer support specialist and parent peer support specialist, Olika Parker.
Hi, I'm Alika Parker. Like she said, I'm a parent peer specialist and a peer support specialist. I have lived experience with mental illness and use disorder myself and have been in recovery from substance use for over 3 years. I also parented a child with severe mental health issues and have navigated those systems with my daughter, who's now an adult. Sharon?
Hi, I'm Sharon Rabnicki, and I've worked for NAMI for about 5 years, the last four as a certified peer specialist. Um, I live with a mental illness. I live with bipolar, and I've had it for 30 years, so I'm dating myself. Um, but just a couple things with it. I've For 10 years I lived on a roller coaster ride with ups and downs and 8 hospitalizations. And then I turned myself over to recovery where I worked with doctors and therapists and a wellness recovery plan. And I've been well for 15 years.
Thanks, Sharon. So this is a welcoming space. Please ask questions in the chat. If you have any, we'll answer them right away. This is about community. So that's really important. Um, I'm going to share my screen now. Start our presentation. Okay. So today we're going to be talking about what is peer support, and I'm going to let Sharon take over and let you guys know what is peer support.
Thanks, Alika. First, I just want to start by saying that a certified peer specialist is a trained individual that uses their own lived experiences with mental health challenges to support others on their recovery journey. We openly share our personal stories to build trust and show that recovery is possible. We assist with navigating resources, developing coping strategies, and setting personal goals with our peers. We focus on strengths, fostering hope, resilience, and self-determination. And the relationship is built on equality, respect, and collaboration. So what we have here, the first slide, are elements of peer support. And the first one are from shared experiences. And it talks about empathy through lived experiences, that peers truly get it because they've been there. This creates a deeper level of understanding between the peer and the peer specialist. There's validations of feelings with peer support. Hearing what I went through too can make someone feel less alone and less ashamed. There's practical wisdom. People who have navigated similar challenges can offer insights, coping strategies, or resources that are grounded in real life. Hope and resilience, seeing someone who can come out the other side of a struggle can be incredibly motivating. And mutual growth, often the person giving and receiving support benefit. Moving on to empathy with judgment, we have unconditional acceptance. A certified peer specialist doesn't try to fix, critique, or change the person's feelings. They simply acknowledge them. There's active listening. A certified peer specialist listens to understand, not to respond. They are curious and not corrective. For suspending assumptions, a certified peer specialist doesn't project their own beliefs or experiences onto the other person. They let their stories be theirs. And there's compassion over comparison, where a certified peer specialist doesn't measure their pain or joy against their own or others. They honor it as valid. And for safe space, a certified peer specialist presence becomes a refuge where vulnerability is met with kindness, not critique. And the last one, hope through connection. There's shared resilience. Knowing or seeing others survive and thrive through adversity reminds us that we can too. Emotional anchoring. When someone says, I'm here for you, it grounds us in the present and gives us courage for the future. Collective vision is working toward a common goal that makes the future feel more achievable. Healing presence, just being with someone who listens, understands, and doesn't rush us can restore our sense of worth. And inspiration from others, witnessing someone else's growth or recovery can spark our own belief in change.
Parent peer support. What does that look like? Parent peer support is helping parents navigate tough systems when they have children dealing with raising kids with mental health challenges, disabilities, trauma histories, or school struggles. It's a way to support specifically the caregiver. Parents often feel blamed or judged. They're very overwhelmed with appointments, IEPs, behaviors, and crisis. We understand as parent peer supports from our own lived experience navigating all these very difficult systems, what these systems look like, and we're able to help parents navigate schools and IEPs. We're able to help parents understand behaviors through a trauma or a disability lens. I'm also able to help parents advocate for their child without fear. I'm also can help families build routines, help parents set boundaries and make safety plans. Sometimes just having another parent tell you you're doing your best and you're not a bad parent is all sometimes us parents need. Parents carry so much guilt and so much weight. Peer support gives them a place to breathe. What are the core values of peer support and parent peer support? Some of the main core values are respect, hope, empowerment, mutuality, and the fact that peer support is voluntary. Peer supports respect each other. The peer respects the peer they're working with. Everyone has a story, and everybody's story is valuable, and everybody deserves dignity and have their story be heard and have somebody walk with them. Hope. Even when things are dark, we help as peers to hold up hope, give suggestions of what has worked for us, and help search for resources. Peer support is also empowerment. We help people find their own answers. As a peer support, I don't tell you what to do. I'm not your therapist. I'm just a person to walk with you, next to you, while you're trying to figure out what's going on. Because we might have something similar because of my lived experience. Peer support is also about mutuality. I learn from my peers as much as they learn from me. Another thing about peer support is it's always a choice. It's never a requirement. Everybody has the choice to be involved or not be involved, and that's a great thing about peer support. Oops, sorry.
How
Share.
it helps. How it helps is one is with building confidence. There's a sense of belonging. Peer support creates a community where individuals feel seen and valued. This reduces loneliness and anxiety, which are barriers to confidence. Shared experiences, hearing I've been there from someone who truly understands, validates feelings, and normalizes challenges. Encouragement and validation. Peer provide positive reinforcement, celebrate progress, and remind each other of strengths. Resilience development. Peer support provides positive reinforcement, celebrate progress, and I repeated that. Sorry. Reduces isolation. It improves longevity, so social ties are linked to longer life expectancy. Better emotional resilience. People with supportive networks cope more effectively with stress and adversity. And enhanced daily satisfaction. Connection fosters a sense of belonging, purpose, and joy. Strengthening peer support through advocacy. Shared lived experiences. Peers draw from their own recovery or life challenges, which make their advocacy authentic and relatable. Confidence and empowerment. Engaging in peer support fosters self-confidence. When individuals see their peers successfully advocating, they are encouraged to believe in their own voice and power. And communication skills. Peer support emphasizes listening and empathy. These are essential skills enabling individuals to articulate needs and solutions effectively. Peer support with models, recovery, and hope. Lived experience is as guidance. Peer support specialists are individuals who have navigated mental health or substance use challenges themselves. Their recovery journey becomes a model, demonstrating that progress and stability are achievable. It's a person-centered approach. Peer support emphasizes holistic recovery, helping people build lives. Coping strategies. Peers share real-world strategies that work for them, making recovery feel more attainable. And through hope and connection, there's shared stories of resilience, reminding people that setbacks are part of recovery. Advantages of peer support. Connection and understanding. Peer support bridges the gap between feeling isolated and being understood. People with shared experiences provide empathy and validation. Empowerment and hope. By sharing recovery stories, peers inspire hope and encourage self-determination. This helps individuals set goals, build strategies, and take steps toward fulfilling lives. It can be cost-effective because peer support reduces hospital stays and reliance on intensive services, which lowers overall healthcare costs. It also reduces self-stigma. Engaging with peers who have faced similar challenges helps individuals feel less judged.
So, what does a peer support session look like? Some peer support sessions, we talk. Sometimes we just walk next to each other. Sometimes we work on goals or coping skills. Sometimes we work on practicing mindfulness or grounding and breathing. Sometimes we look for resources. But all peer support sessions are very relaxed and flexible. We can meet people where they're at. We have an office that you can come into, or we can meet you in the community. There's no pressure and there's no judgment. It's a partnership that we explore what the person wants from themselves and we help them explore that. A parent peer support session can look similar. It also can look like navigating what's going on at school, helping a parent navigate what's going to happen at their IEP or going with them to an IEP. It's understanding and helping parents learn about trauma. It's helping parents advocate, and it's really just helping parents know that they aren't to blame and they don't need to be guilty about what's going on with their child. We help them find the resources they need to advocate for their children. Um, oops. So, Sharon, do you want to share a peer story and then
I
I'll
can,
share a parent peer story?
sure, I can share a story. First off, I just wanted to mention that we receive outreach calls where individuals call in and ask for help. And when that happens, um, sometimes during the conversation, that turns into peer support service. And we also get emails through our outreach. I'll share a story. I have an individual who I'm working with, a gentleman, and when he called in, he first thing he said to me was, "I don't know why I'm calling in." And I said to him, "Well, tell me more." And he just said that he's living in his bedroom, isolated, only goes out to go to the bathroom and get food, and he has no life, he has no job, um, and he feels like he has mental health issues. And so we talked and then we met. He did come into the office and so he shared his story, and then as he was sharing his story, I was helping him identify what are things that he would like to do to help improve his life, his mental health, etc. And we created a list and created a wellness recovery plan from that. And we found out things like he can't drive because he doesn't have a license. So we went through the process of renewing his license tabs. And he did that, but it took several calls. It probably took a month for him to get it done because he had a hard time working at the computer. But we worked together every week and just talking about what steps he could take to help himself work on that computer. He also needed health insurance. And I got a contact for him regarding health insurance, and he ended up calling there. Again, this took several months for him to get it, but he did achieve that. We help with resources, as Alika said, and we're working on housing for him right now for him to get an apartment because he's living with his parents. And just sharing a lot of experiences with him have helped him. I told him that I was homeless once and lived in my father's basement. And by just working on a recovery plan, that helped me eventually get out and build my life. Thank you, Lika.
Thanks, Sharon. So, when I work with parents, a lot of times when parents call me, they're in crisis by the time they've reached out to me because they don't know about parent peer support. They're usually in crisis, and what I try to do is help them feel better about the situation and themselves. Because there's so much stigma around mental health that when a parent reaches out, they feel to blame for what's going on with their kid. They feel like things have gotten out of control and that feels uncomfortable to them. So I more recently have had a parent reach out who has a middle schooler who is severely depressed, won't get out of school, or won't get out of bed, won't go to school. Um, Social media plays a big role nowadays for these kiddos and what they're dealing with. And there are lots of threats from other kids to children and really mean things being said. And this parent feels like she has lost control of parenting, not knowing what to do, not knowing how to help her child because her child won't do anything but stay in bed most days. And we've looked for resources for extra help for the family. We've looked for some intensive treatment services. Um, the mother shared her insurance information with me, and I helped her find some resources for that. I was also just there to listen to the mom and let her know that it's okay to have the emotions and the feelings that she's having as she's going through this crisis. Because as a parent, sometimes it's it's a whole double whammy because we start beating ourselves up as parents when we're dealing with our children's crisis. And so we already have a crisis with our child, and then it affects our mental health too. So I really help parents feel better and know that there's like hope out there, that there's services, that there's a way that finally one day soon they will be able to breathe. So those are the benefits of peer support. Um, when we work with families and peers, we help those people gain more stability. We help them engage in more services if that's what they want. Peers are more confident. They feel less isolated. They have a little bit more hope and they trust better. Okay. Okay. Sorry, guys. My button wasn't working. So here at NAMI Dane County, we have many different peer resources. NAMI has always been an organization that feels people learn best from peers. So we have our classic peer and family support groups. We have an adult mental health support group. On Mondays, every other week, it's actually in person. We have a young adult mental health support group, at LGBTQIA plus mental health support group. We have a women's mental health support group, and we have a peer-to-peer support group. We also have a family support group. Most of our support groups are on Zoom and are accessible through our website. We also have education and workshops like this workshop. This is a first in a series that we'll be doing all winter on different information. We also have a family to family class that helps families that are navigating mental illness with their family member. I've recently started a parent navigation program. It's a pilot program through NAMI Dane County and the Monona Grove School District. I help parents find resources that are in crisis or before crisis happens with referrals from the Student Service Department through the Monona Grove School District. We also have lots of crisis resources at NAMI. We have access to different crisis numbers. We do crisis training, crisis intervention training for different groups. We also do training with different law enforcement officers. I share my lived experience story as a parent of a child with mental illness with law enforcement. Sharon still shares her story with law enforcement also. Um, so those are some of the programs that we have here, but also everything at NAMI Dane County is free. We also have free one-on-one peer support and parent peer support that Sharon and I both provide. You can call or reach out to us with our emails, which will be at the end of this presentation. Next, here are some crisis resources. These are our crisis cards, and since we aren't in person, I put it in the slides to give you guys just some basic resources. And at the very top corner is the number here to our offices at NAMI. The number is 608-249-7188. And you can call that number, ask for Sharon or I, or just say that you need peer support, and they will transfer you or leave a message for us to get back to you. So, and our peer support services are also free. So these cards have lots of great numbers for crisis lines and local crisis lines so that they're right kind of at your fingertip. And they're all available on our website also. Um, so I'd like to make this a little interactive. So we don't fix people. We walk beside people. I'm not here to give you answers. Sharon's not here to give you answers. We'll look for answers for you and different options, but we're here to share our lived experience.
So I want to thank Sharon and Alika for kind of demystifying what it is to be a peer support specialist and to kind of define it for us. So they do have their contact information right here on the screen at Sharon at NAMIDaneCounty.org or Alika at NAMIDaneCounty.org. For those who came in a little later, your video and audio are off, but you can use the chat to ask any questions or make any comments. So I'm going to go to the chat. We did get a comment and a question in the chat, and it says, "Is peer support only for people overcoming mental health challenges on their own, or could it pertain to being a caregiver for a loved one who is mentally ill?"
It can pertain to being a caregiver too. Peer support is just support. It's hope. It's having. I used to joke my peer support was through the CCS program, and so my peer support was paid. And so I used to joke she was my paid best friend because a peer support is kind of a person just to be there and help you out. It's not every person, like just because you don't have a mental illness doesn't mean that you aren't dealing with hard things. And so even though I'm a parent peer support and I was a parent, I dealt with another person as a caretaker. And so any caretakers, it's not parent peer support, it's caretaker peer support really is what I do. And so yes, we can give us a call if you need help. It's you're dealing and yeah, please give us a call.
Perfect. We have another question. It says, "I am a therapist with my own mental health experience. Would it be appropriate for me to be a peer support specialist as well, or is it better to not have a professional role?"
Um I know peer support specialists that are licensed therapists. They started out as peer support specialists, went on, continued school, and became licensed therapists. Um, when it really depends on, so there's kind of a different code of ethics and a like a different way of doing things than therapy, like with lived experience and sharing my experience. than what they teach you as like a licensed therapist. So you can go through this certified peer support training and utilize it as a therapist. I think therapists with lived experience are amazing because look at what happens in a peer relationship. If I know that you've gone through what I went through, I trust you right away almost because we already have a connection. So it's really up to you as a therapist what you would like to conceal, you know. Some therapists don't want to share their lived experience, but I think lived experience is really important.
Perfect. Thank you, Olika. Sharon, did you have anything you would like to add?
No, I think Alika did a good job covering it. I know you're on the board, Alika, the peer specialist,
Oh,
and you know all the code of ethics and that. And I think you did a good job explaining that.
yeah. So I also in my introduction I didn't state I'm the co-chair of the membership committee for this Department of Health Services State of Wisconsin Peer Support Advisory Council. And we make a lot of decisions about peer supports in here in Wisconsin. Um, Other than our peer support, there are peer supports that you can get through other programs that are Medicaid reimbursable. That just is something that just is happening right now in the state of Wisconsin. Um, in programs like CCS and other integrated service programs where you can have multiple services, you can have a peer support and a therapist. A therapist is different than a peer support. I have many clients that um, go to therapy, you know, every other week or once a week, but still meet with me, you know, weekly, monthly, something like that. So it's an added support. Any more questions for anybody?
I do want to, Olika did and Sharon mentioned that we have our family to family programs and classes are open. Registration is open for the 2026 year. We're also doing a peer-to-peer class, which is another educational course led by people living with mental illness and to kind of go through recovery as well as kind of, setting a vision and goals for the future and strengthening your relationships, amongst a lot of other things that go into the peer-to-peer class. You can find out more under the education tab on our website about all of our current offerings with the classes, as well as our next workshop, which will be on December 10th, which is a Wednesday, and it'll be cultivating your community and growing a network of support. We have a lot going on. We also have Yoga in the Winter Wonderland, who will be led by Yogi Angelica Usuri, and that first virtual yoga class will be this Saturday, December 6th. Um, I want to thank everyone for joining us this evening. And Sharon and Nolika, do you have any final words you would like to share with everyone?
I just want people to remember that everybody's experiences count and lived experience is so important and we can learn so much from our peers. So please keep that in mind. Thank you, everybody.
And just to comment that with peer support, I feel like I'm guiding the peer and like I had said earlier, walking beside them and helping them identify their own solutions, not telling them what to do. And Alika and I are both passionate about peer support, and it's a growing field. I think Alika can account to that. And I just like to thank everyone for coming.
We did get another question in the chat, and the question
Yes.
is, how do you become trained in peer support?
So The state of Wisconsin peer support training goes through the Department of Health Services for the state of Wisconsin. They have an organization called WIPSI, which is the Wisconsin Peer Support Initiative. They are contracted through DHS to put on certified peer support and certified parent peer support classes. Um, we're waiting for a schedule to come out for next year. It's hard right now with funding for different things. Um, but keep checking the WIPSI website, sign up for notifications from WIPSI, and Dane County has probably the least amount of classes offered. Sometimes catching a private class through an organization. Hopefully, down the road, one of us or both of us will get trained to be able to teach the course. But right now, it's going through the state. So
Alika, can you spell Whipsy?
it's Wisconsin WI Peer Support PS Initiative. I so it's pretty basic.
Okay.
Yeah. But you can go to DHS and type in peer support, and all of the information will come up at the DHS website. So it can be really helpful. And, you know, um, peer support's all about lived experience. You heard that from both of us talking about parent peer support or regular peer support. And, lived experience really breaks down isolation. It builds trust faster, like I was saying before. And it also shows that recovery is real because they see what we've been through and where we're at now. So it's so valuable. Any other questions?
Well, if anyone thinks of any other questions, please feel free to reach out to us at the emails that are listed at Sharon or Alika at namidanecounty.org. I want to thank everyone again for being here this evening and joining us for the first session for our mental health workshop series. So we look forward to seeing you all on December 10th.
Thank you so much,
Bye.
everyone.
Thank you. Have a good
Thank
night.
you.
Yep.
Yes, we will share the session. It will be available